Evening. Good evening. Welcome back, fellow TFFL owners, to your not quite weekly at this point TFFL webcast. It is, I'm losing track of the days. I think it's Wednesday, May 25th. As I said in my email, I think next week, it's June. We got mini camps coming up. We shift from off season to preseason here, but we have a lot to talk about. Since we last were on, we've had NFL free agency. Not so much free agency, but a ton of NFL trades of existing veteran players. We've had the NFL draft. As I noted once, the NFL draft apps are out. If you haven't downloaded your favorite draft app, go get it. It is time to start talking TFFL. So let's do our panel intros. First off, thank you to Rich Berkman, not only for 2 years of great commissionering, but for also being on the webcast. He will not be a regular necessarily this year, but he will join us many times, I'm sure. Hey, if somebody's got their phone in front of them, text Thornburg. I always forget to text him when we go live. I don't know if he's watching.
I got you.
Nice. But joining us tonight as a special guest and hopefully somewhat regular as well, head cheese from the Hormel Hams, Michael Giovenco. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening. Happy to be here.
We'll come back to your background in just a second. Berto, High Command from Jack's Giant Killers. Welcome.
Stick, how are you? It's good to be doing a webcast again. This is great.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm a little crazy right now. I'll fill you guys in a second. And Hank, our IT director, czar and CEO of the K-Wheels. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone.
Coming straight from the shipping department.
Yes.
Straight from the shipping department, live from the shipping department of Maxwell and Geraldine. Yes, I'm in the middle of it.
So I know some people out there, including Hank, don't like all the jibber jabber here at the start, but it's been a while since we've talked. So let's catch up a little bit. Lots of big news going on, and we'll start with our special guest. Michael's background is different because Michael, is that I trust this is your new home.
That is correct. Yes.
Good.
That is my that's my kitchen that you see behind me.
Welcome to Virginia.
Yeah. Thank you. Happy to be here and happy to be paying less taxes.
Yes. Welcome to the Commonwealth. Good place to be.
Is everything out of boxes? Are you're
we're kind of settled in, but I don't know, 70% settled in. I have some boxes left, but the main stuff is out. And then I have to I'm trying to figure out what I need to get and all that stuff.
Did you say, are there major purchases involved in this whole settling in?
Yeah, there will be, and then I have to try to figure out some things to do around here. I have to do some slight renovation stuff.
Always.
You need to put together a list on Crate and Barrel for housewarming gifts or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
Well, welcome to it, Michael. The joys of home ownership. There's always a project.
It looks like the kitchen is unpacked there, which is good. So
yeah, no, the kitchen's unpacked. Everything here is unpacked. Most of the stuff is unpacked. It's just like books and some books and some old CDs, records, and stuff like that you don't really need. Still hanging out. But yeah,
big purchase. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Maybe we can take bets on this. How soon until you get a cat or a dog?
Cat won't happen. I'm pretty positive about that. Dog. Yeah, I don't know. Everybody here has a dog, so it's on my mind. And I don't know if you know, Ralph got a new dog as well.
Yep.
Mabel. Who I haven't met yet. But yeah, maybe I'll go down that. There's a good possibility. 6 months, maybe.
Okay.
Over.
Hank, what do you got going on? Luke is in the national championships, the Fortnite national championships.
Yep, going to Orlando for the North American national championships for XP League. Looking forward to it. So yep, got that coming up. Making my 4th trip to Florida in the last 60 days. but yes, so I'm, commuting to Florida. Living the dream. All else as well. I haven't paid any attention to football, but look forward to talking with you gentlemen.
Berto, did you win that basketball tournament?
We didn't. We had a tough overtime loss in the semifinals. Heartbreaking, but good season. It was a crazy tournament. It was a double elimination 16-team rec basketball tournament that went on for a long time, but it was good.
Yeah.
Berto kept sending me the updated bracket.
Yeah.
I could see your path. You kept beating the number 1 seed over and over again. It looked like
we did great. We just had a rough one rough game. I mean, not even a rough game. It was overtime, but so
it's tough.
So I've been in suspense about who won the golf.
Who in the golf pool?
Was it short strokes?
Did Nick win? Nick did not win, did he?
No, short strokes came in second.
That's tough.
So he tied for first, right? So there's 54 people that were in the pool. So he tied for first. However, he had a bad tie break.
Terrible number
in there, which is basically the aggregate winning score, and it was really pretty bad. But the other guy had a pretty bad one too. It just wasn't quite as bad as Nick's. So
yeah,
Nick
they were both horrible.
Second. But he still got $300 for second, which is nice.
Nick did great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Any place in that pool is well done.
All right. Some Aliens personal news and notes. Congratulations to minority owner Chris Connor. He just bought a new home as well. I think he's got to be ecstatic. We saw him a little bit a week ago. He's still got his home in Arlington. He's now got the beach home. I saw pictures of the thing I'm most envious of is the pool is huge. Nice place. Connor has already made clear he will not be hosting the TFFL draft there. It kind of looks like we might all squeeze them there, but it would be very crowded. But maybe an off-season event or something. But congratulations to Connor. So real quick for me, we just came back from vacation 3 weeks ago, down to Charleston area. Came back the day after we came back, we started tearing up 2 of our 3 bathrooms. And Amanda then turned 50. We had a little party for her. The next day, Amanda tested positive for COVID. I
hugged her. The night before, I hugged her at the party.
I've hugged you.
I'm okay as far as I know at the moment, but anyway, I am not showering and not using the upstairs this week. So just trying.
You guys only have 1 functioning bathroom. Are you just like not going to the bathroom? Are you peeing outside or what? I
am sneaking upstairs as quick as I can into the bathroom, but
He's got a bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's rough here.
So Laser can take you out for a walk.
Right. Exactly.
It's good to have a dog, right?
Right. And then, if all goes well, I stay healthy and go to Luke Hawkins' 12th birthday party later this week and go to Nashville on business next week. So, lots going on. There you go. All wrapped up in under 10 minutes. Let's talk TFFL. Hank, we would ordinarily turn to you for TFFL standings.
Yes.
You have some good news, I think.
I do. I have good news for everyone. Everyone in the league across the board is even. We are all leading in our divisions. We are all in first place in our conferences, and we are all favorites with an inside track to the Pac Bowl. So I wish you all well, and that's where we stand.
Nice work. Now, I'm not sure about your last statement there about all being favorites with the inside shot at the Pac Bowl. I have heard
mathematically
in my conversations with league insiders. Berto, how are some of these keeper lists looking these days?
Hey, there's a couple bad ones out there. I won't. I'll save the worst for last, which I think could be historically bad. But we'll start with the aliens, unfortunately, Stick.
Yep.
I don't know. This is there's some struggles here, but you do tend to sort it out and make a timely trade of somebody who will often pan out for you as that seventh keeper. But I think there's a lot of question marks here right now. Trevor Lawrence, yes, okay. Second year, Jacksonville, Urban Meyer, that whole situation. It seems like that will improve. But oh man, he didn't show enough, but you have to hold him anyway, right? I mean, it doesn't matter what he showed last year. He's a keeper.
No, he's not.
Probably.
If you spend a first round draft pick, you have to give him.
Yeah, you have to keep him, but I think if we look at the 12 quarterbacks that are going to be kept in the TFFL, he's at the bottom, right? Or 11, whatever the number is going to be, 11 or 12. And then you go to running back. A lot of question marks here. I mean, the hope is, okay, Cam Akers, sure. A lot of potential there. The Sony Michel trade, there could be a little something there. But again, we're banking on Tony Pollard to unseat Zeke. It's not going to happen. I think even if that situation does turn a little bit more fortuitous, I still think Zeke is the goal line back, and I think that leaves Pollard, out in the cold in terms of touchdowns, which obviously critical in TFL. So the running backs, not great. There is some hope on the wide receivers. Certainly Amari Cooper going to Cleveland, sure. I think the Gabriel Davis, probably a sneaky keeper. He's like a seventh keeper. You said a six, which then I have to ask the question, who is the seventh? And I guess the seventh is a question mark right now.
Admittedly, the seventh is going to be, yeah.
I see 4 keepers on this roster. I see 4. Trevor Lawrence, as much as you love him, and I guess he's a first-round pick, so you're going to double down on your investment. He's the 24th ranked quarterback in the league. 24.
Yeah. Hey, I agree with you. I've pondered whether or not I should be keeping Trevor Lawrence. I kind of fall back on what Berto and Michael said, which is I've invested in him. You got to give him a bit of a mulligan with the Urban Meyer situation. And I don't have anybody better. Right. That's part of the equation too.
Understood.
Rebuilding. There's also zero trade value. It's, you're just dropping him. So
he's the best option. So you
gotta ride that out.
I guess.
Let's not dwell on the aliens too much. But I do want to the one I know that
for good reason.
Yeah. The one that raised eyebrows here was Gabriel Davis, and you want to go look at the rankings. I think you guys are going to find him ranked a lot higher than you think he is. He's right there with Michael Pittman. He's right there with Michael Thomas. Gabriel Davis is going to have a big season.
I mean, I don't know about that. He looked great in the playoffs, no doubt. We'll see. So again, like a 7th keeper, okay, or a guy you trade for right before draft, but he's your 6th keeper, and that's a problem. All right.
Who are the 6? So is it Michelle? You were counting Pollard in there? I don't think Pollard's a keeper.
Tony Pollard is definitely for Cam Akers. Trevor Lawrence. That's 3.
Who was the first one?
Tony Pollard. Cam Akers.
He is a keeper. Okay.
Tony Pollard's definitely a keeper.
All right.
Debo,
Amari Cooper.
And Gabriel Davis.
Yeah, I forgot to mention Debo too. I mean, Debo and Amari is, that's pretty good. That's why you're 3rd. We're going to move on to anything else about the aliens?
Moving on.
All right, let's move on. The Mongols. This team won a Pac Bowl 2 years ago. And man, what happened? I don't know. Josh Allen, sure, fantastic. And then there's a ton of question marks. Now, I will say I like Michael Carter too. I traded a lot for Michael Carter, and then traded him to the Mongols. However, his stock just went down with Hall being drafted by the Jets. That was a huge hit. As the draft was going on, I'm like, Hall to the Jets. But man, if they didn't draft him, I think I think he could have had a good season. But now it really that just threw a huge monkey wrench in that. Chase Edmonds, okay, new team, but he's got competition there, plenty of competition. Sony, there's another guy there. I'm blanking, but I mean that's at least Michelle will be some competition there for sure.
Miles Gaskin's there, right?
Gaskin. Okay, so now there's a couple bright spots, right? We got Dobbins coming back. Hopefully he can be a number 2 type running back. Darren Waller, if he stays healthy, he's a very good tight end. I loved him. I didn't like trading him, but I knew I was going to be in a position where I couldn't keep him anyway. So that's why I traded him, but I think he's a very good player. But there's not a lot else here. Elijah Moore, which I basically gave to the Mongols. I think he's got probably a bright career too. But there's a lot of question marks and a couple Jets, as Michael would say.
Well, the problem with they just drafted Garrett Wilson. They've got Corey Davis. Elijah Moore really didn't do much last year, and now he's the number 3 guy at best in that passing offense.
I wouldn't say that, and we got to go. Let's take a look.
He was injured for a few games.
Yeah,
so he only played 11 games, but I mean he had 500 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah,
he was good. He was good.
He passed the eyeball test too. He was good. I was regretting the fact that I traded him.
Yeah, I like Moore.
So I think he's going to be good. And if you take, and we're kind of bashing the Jets because they have 2 Jets keepers. However, they had a good draft. It's a team I think that everyone thinks is on the upswing, but they still have a big question mark at quarterback.
Well, here's
question mark at quarterback.
Not to interrupt, but give me the over or for this coming year. Who do you think does better, Zach Wilson or Trevor Lawrence, fantasy point wise?
Fantasy point wise, I don't think either of them are in the top 20.
I'm going to say Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson by a little bit.
Yeah, it's close, but I'm going to say Wilson.
Yeah, I'd take Wilson too.
Wow.
So
here's the thing. I watched obviously as much Trevor Lawrence as I could last year. You saw signs every week, and in some weeks more than others. He's a really talented quarterback. Yeah. As much as you might be excited about what the Jets have done around Zach Wilson, there is zero evidence, having watched him play enough last year, that he is a competent NFL quarterback.
We're going to find out.
Yep.
I think, yeah, but it's a talent thing too. And maybe Jacksonville, Etienne, and some other things that they've done there, that dynamic will change a little bit. But I look at the Jets and I'm like, they've got some weapons now.
Yeah, but here's the story. Everybody said this last year. Mike White, who I think was another rookie, undrafted free agent rookie, way outplayed Zach Wilson with the same shitty weapons last year. Way outplayed him.
But that was like a game. That was like a game.
Yeah,
it was like one game he had
small sample size,
and then after that, like he fell right off the cliff.
All I'm saying is I'm biased obviously, but for everybody to be on the Zach Wilson bandwagon, the guy
and Mike White he's been in the league for a couple of years, I believe.
I want to be really clear about something. I am not on any Zach Wilson bandwagon of any kind.
Good.
None. But I do want to give a shout out to the most loyal fan of the TFL webcast, Bill Thornberg, who is dialed in live.
Nice work.
All right.
Shout out Thornberg.
All right, let's accelerate this. Let's get to the worst keeper list in the league.
So, the Devils. This could be historically bad. Should they keep a kicker? Because it might be their best option. Should they pull a Lizards? Man, it is barren. Nick even said so himself. He said, the Devils, whatever his quote was. I'm misquoting him, but the Devils do their best work when the cupboard is bare, or no, every new chapter of the Devils' success starts with a blank page or something like that. Well, this page is blank. It is very, very blank.
Blank page.
There is not much here. I mean,
Jackson and Kittle. He's got Lamar Jackson and George Kittle.
It gets worse here by the day. Like every transaction that happens in the NFL seems to have a negative implication for the Devils.
It's just.
Well, he has Steve. Let's be fair. He has Stevenson,
Ramondre Stevenson,
who has some good upside.
He's RB1.
Yeah.
Yes, he's their RB. He would be my RB3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
He should be an RB3.
And James Robinson, right? Like
who's not going to play?
Yeah, I guess he has Achilles.
It's not good.
Baltimore. Talk about Lamar Jackson.
James Robinson is out through training camp. I mean, there's so little chance of him being relevant early in the season.
Yeah, the whole Ridley thing was a disaster. Diggs the trade for with the Sponge.
What was the Diggs trade?
Diggs and Elijah Mitchell. Oof.
Well,
but he has a 1 and 2 this year back for
he does have a ton of good picks.
Right. I'd rather have those two players than
go to the Marquise Brown trade, for instance. Marquise Brown not on the Devils, and yet it hurts him because Lamar Jackson suddenly doesn't have any veteran. Right. And by sending Marquise Brown to Arizona, I'm not sure Rondale Moore has, any sort of keeper value. He's a projected keeper for the Devils right now.
Yeah.
Come talk to me about Marquise Brown.
He has to. I mean, obviously Nick has to go out there and make a deal. He has plenty of picks to do it. So collect a bunch of the 7-8 players off somebody else's roster, and for a decent pick or a couple decent picks or a couple pick this year, a pick next year. And he's looking at it's something to be he has to do something, no doubt.
Yeah, and to that point, Michael, I started to think about a trade with the Devils. What I can give these two guys for, and then I'm like, I don't want to give the two guys for any of these guys.
Nothing.
There's no 2-for-1 trade to be had with the Devils.
No, but you're gonna pick up you'll be happy with picking up a draft pick.
Right. Well, of course, yes. So that's my point, and I think so you're not gonna. Yeah, it's gonna be a draft pick thing, and he's got to make a couple, 2 or 3 of those types of moves, I think, to win a couple games this year.
Yeah.
So can we try to name who are the 7? It's Lamar Jackson, it's George Kittle, it's Tyler Boyd. You said Stevenson.
Yep.
Where are we going from there?
He has to.
I'd say more at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's 5.
And Robinson, I guess.
Robinson, okay, fine. He's out.
Yeah, but I mean, what else you got?
Yep, Robinson.
Kadarius Toney.
Yep,
maybe.
Right.
I mean, he's got a hurt knee too.
I'm telling you, every time there's a NFL piece of news, it's bad news for the Devils.
Wow. I mean, is Kenneth Gainwell somebody worth considering? I mean,
well, maybe.
Only if he trades for Miles Sanders, which he should.
He should be trading. He should be trading me for Marquise Brown right now.
He should be asking me, and I've offered Miles Sanders, but he's not taking him, and he should.
Nick is not paying attention yet.
He'll
wake up in August.
I mean, the thing with Nick is like he has time on his side, not to. But like, why do anything today? I'd if I was him, I'd wait until.
Yeah. Wait, why not?
A week before the keeper deadline, or 3 days before the keeper deadline, see how things shake out. Although, I mean, you don't want to wait. I guess the other hand is like you don't want to wait too long and have some of these excess players fall off somebody's roster, and you're left up picking up scraps. So, probably a good idea for him to do like one.
He should
like
really
one good big move.
Yeah, he should really target a trade August 1st, August 15th. And August 30th.
Yeah, every 2 weeks, incremental moves.
Do it. Space them out a little bit. You can have that August 30th one right before the trade deadline, but get a couple other guys in there to round out, a keeper list. So
like bodies,
the worst of all time.
like bond laddering, where you keep
Right.
getting better and better rates as you go.
Yeah.
Nick is going to have to be active in the offseason. All right. So let's talk about NFL free agency. Let's talk about the NFL draft. NFL free agency came first, and really, I'm not sure there's a lot of headline free agency moves. What I'm going to lump into this category, though, is a ton of trades. I want to talk about some suspensions as well. Basically, this category of conversation is veteran NFL players with some big news this offseason. Let's start with the suspensions, or at least one big suspension that has happened, because it brings up a big question I can ask you guys. DeAndre Hopkins out 6 games, I believe is the number, 6 games to start the season for Arizona, for the Senators. The simple question, is DeAndre Hopkins still a keeper here for the Senators at his, what is he, 30 years old now, out 6 games to start the year, with the note that Rashad Bateman is the number 8 guy on this Senators list, who you could easily plug in and let Hopkins go, or try to trade one of those 2 guys.
I think Bateman is somebody will be, if not already, is going to be a name worth keeping, but a lot of buzz on him already. So he'll want to figure out a way to do that. I mean, Hopkins sitting for 6 games is not a little thing to consider. It's like Robinson with his Achilles, and when's he going to be ready? I don't know that you let him go, though. I mean, that's a big chip to let go.
Yeah.
He's 30.
I think he'll be kept, but I don't think he should be kept.
Right.
I agree with Michael. I don't think he should be kept.
I think I agree, but I think it's hard to get rid of him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I think Cranes thinks he's got enough firepower to compete, but so I don't know. I think he will. I think he will think about that, and the fact that it's just a donut of a keeper for 6 weeks, that's rough. I think that's this one will torture him, but I think probably he shouldn't be kept, and I think he won't be at the end of the day.
The complicating factor here for him is that I don't really see Bateman as a great keeper for him, given that he's already got Mark Andrews. And given that Baltimore just does not throw a ton of passing touchdowns, keeping 2 guys in that passing offense.
I think people are, I don't know, my personal opinion. I'm interested in Bateman, but like what wide receivers really knocked it out in Baltimore? And he has a ton of promise, but
yeah, exactly.
I mean, a keeper wide receiver for Baltimore, I don't know.
That
doesn't excite me.
Marquise Brown was worthy of consideration last year. He had a pretty good year in Baltimore.
Yeah, agreed.
But again, are you going to keep 2 weapons in the Baltimore passing game?
I don't think so, probably.
So I'm not sure he can easily just say, okay, I'm going to keep Bateman instead. I think he's got to find a trade partner for Bateman and probably keep Hopkins.
This is actually, I mean, I think this keeper list is surprisingly soft. But when you really dig into some of this, I don't. There's a lot of question marks here.
Well,
I think bad news. You were saying, all the bad news hit the devil. Some hit the Sens too. Hopkins and
let's talk about suspensions. Suspensions. What's going on with Kamara? I haven't heard anything. But
what is up with Kamara?
I keep saying suspensions as if I'm expecting a Kamara suspension as well, but the truth is there's only 1 suspension at the moment here for the Senators. But Kamara, from everything I'm jumping to conclusions based on limited evidence, but from everything we know, there is actual evidence that's going to make it really tough for him to avoid a suspension in that assault case.
I don't see how he gets out of not getting suspended, but who knows?
Yeah. And who knows when that gets handed down.
Right.
That's 2 keepers that are probably going to miss a good chunk of time in 2022. All right, so let's go. There is one piece of free agency news. It's not a huge one, but Michael, as our guest, Ronald Jones to Kansas City. This is a nice segue from the Senators. I've got Ronald Jones as a keeper for the Hormel Hams. And I think this is another ding to the Senators keeper list. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, is at best a committee back.
Yeah. You want my comments on that?
Yeah. Are you keeping Ronald Jones?
I got a hunch of what they are.
Absolutely. I think that Hilaire is just he's been mediocre at best, and outplayed even by like Williams last year.
Darrell Williams was great at the end of last season.
Yeah. I mean, Williams looked better than he did. So I don't know. I think the knock on Hilaire, like everybody thought he'd just step in and be like Hunt or even Damian Williams, and put up big numbers, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy. He doesn't have that. I mean, he's pretty slow. He's like a 4.6. I didn't really understand why they picked him in the first round to begin with. Not explosive. He can make people miss, but he doesn't have a lot of power. He's a pretty good receiver, but I don't know. He's not exciting. He's not what that. I don't think he's what that offense needs. So I'm kind of excited to see somebody with the ability of Ronald Jones. Although, he suffers from a little bit of brain fog. It seems. I mean, when you put the ball in his hands, I mean, the guy could run. And
have you
run
had
over
the privilege
people
of owning Jones before? Have you had Jones before?
Yeah. Last 2 years. I mean, last year was nothing. Year before, when he was given the opportunity,
10 touchdowns.
Yeah, he was great. I mean, he was great.
Dude,
for
you know my affinity for Ronald Jones. I love Ronald Jones, and I'm sorry he's not on my team still, but man, is he frustrating.
Yeah,
because just when you think he's going to bust out and do it, he doesn't, and then you're not expecting it. He's awesome, but
yeah. I mean, I couldn't. I mean, I've been waiting for him, especially last year. The frustrating, incredibly frustrating year for him.
Yep.
I've been waiting for him to hit his free agency. I knew he wouldn't be back in Tampa Bay, and I mean, I can't think of a better landing spot really for him than Kansas City. I think they'll find a good role for him if he can't handle, everything. They'll find a good role for him. They paid him well, so I think they'll give him every opportunity to be successful. And I think that, or at least I hope, a little change of scenery will help him out a little bit.
Hank?
Thornburg's commenting on that my pink sticky things are not in perfect alignment, which I'm like, which one are you talking about? The ones from my shoulder?
No, they look pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
And you know what, Thornburg? I don't really give a shit. They're labeled
Well, you clearly
incredibly
do.
well.
You do, and they look just
Thank you. We're well organized here in the shipping department. Thank you very much.
I mean, maybe one on the top left is a little crooked, maybe, but I mean, I think
we're going to go with it. We're going to go with it.
All right. So lots of the big news again in kind of the free agency period was actually all the trades of receivers. Devontae Adams to Green Bay. We mentioned Amari Cooper to Cleveland. Actually, there was a free agent signing, Allen Robinson to the Rams. Fairly big news, and gives the Mongols I think a little bit of a boost there. He's better with the Rams than with the Bears for sure. Mm-hmm. The two big ones I want to bring up really quick. Talk to you guys about AJ Brown to the Eagles. I'm still not sure what I think of Jalen Hurts, but I'm really high on Devontae Smith. I think actually Devontae Smith's ceiling now is capped a little bit, but when you're throwing to Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert at tight end, that's no excuses anymore. Not that Hurts was bad last year, but you got to be excited, Berto.
Hurts is pretty bad though.
I
mean, throwing the ball, he wasn't very good.
As a fantasy player, he was
good. He was good at running the ball.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
better than Trevor Lawrence.
Good enough.
Not to stomp on Berto's thunder here.
So, I mean, as an Eagles fan, I love AJ Brown and the Eagles, and I think this is what this offense needed. As a fantasy owner of AJ Brown, I'm neutral. So, it'll be fun to have him on the Eagles, but I think Yeah, well, I mean,
that Tennessee passing offense was.
Yeah, it's not like Tennessee was throwing it a ton either, right? So again, I don't know. I don't think it's like a big upswing. It's kind of a neutral move in terms of probably his fantasy production, but he's a great player. So I expect big things from him. He's really good, and I think he's going to help the Eagles. So that part of it's fun, and it's always fun to have a superstar guy on your your NFL team that you're rooting for. So I think he's going to have a really good year. So
real quick, Bruno, real quick, put your 3 receivers in order, top to bottom. Your 3.
Chase, Brown, McLaurin.
Okay. The other big trade that I haven't mentioned yet at the receiver position, Tyreek Hill, going from Kansas City to Miami. And this has a couple implications for the Hormel Hams. Patrick Mahomes, your keeper quarterback, loses Tyreek Hill. And with Hill going to Miami, Jalen Waddle, I don't know what to think. I'm not sure this necessarily limits Jalen Waddle. I'm curious what your thoughts are there, Mike.
Yeah, I'd say it wasn't. I wasn't celebrating Hill's departure.
Okay.
Or his arrival.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I think it's a mixed bag on both of them. I think for Mahomes, I think it's obviously it's a minus. I don't think he could spin it any other way. But they have gone out and tried to fill his issues, I guess, whatever. And I mean, bringing in Juju is pretty good. Is pretty good. Is a pretty good get. I mean, people seem to be not giving. I don't know, not giving a lot of credit that Juju could be a pretty good wide receiver. He's still pretty young, so MVS that they added for the speed. I mean, it seems like they've put a lot more work in terms of trying to find actual receivers outside of Hill, which they haven't really been able to do over the last 4 years. So I think
Hardman's going on a little bit.
Yeah, and he's still there. I mean, he has his issues. He has a lot of drops and
Sure.
mental.
He's got a role. Yeah.
But yeah, he has a role, and then what is it? Sky Moore.
Yep.
He sounds pretty interesting. So I kind of like the fact that let's see Mahomes take the next step, and if he's the $40 million or $50 million quarterback, then
he'll make them all look good.
Does he need a Tyreek to look good, or can he spread it around and in some ways I think could make that offense a little bit better than having to rely always on. I mean, you kind of become a little bit predictable when you're either throwing the Hill or you're throwing the Kelsey.
Yep.
And over the last 2 years, I mean, there hasn't been really anything else. The running backs haven't really been doing anything. And outside of those two, the receivers didn't do much. I mean, Hardman maybe, DeMarcus Robinson maybe did something, and Brian Pringle, blah blah blah, but not much. So I think on I mean, it's a negative, but I think it's a slight negative for Mahomes. I think for Waddle, I think it's all dependent on what we get from Tua. So I mean, could Tua really step it up? And I think like Tua's kind of like Hurts, right? It's like they're both big question marks, but they've both gotten a ton of weapons now to be able to succeed. Can they do it? And I think it's if Tua can't take the next step, then it's going to be a disaster for everybody because he has a lot of mouths to feed, and I think there would be a lot of frustration if people aren't putting up the stats. And I think there's a good downside for Waddle, no doubt. But I think also if Tua could take that next step, and I'm not overly confident that is the case. But I think Waddle could. I think Waddle could be great. I think he showed last year. Like I don't know, it'd be interesting to get everybody else's opinion. Like if you redid the draft last year, who would you take, Waddle or Smith? All things considered, I think I'd still be on. I'm still on Waddle. I think so.
I like. I mean, Waddle having Tyreek Hill as a compliment, is that different than having AJ Brown
Right.
as a compliment to Devontae Smith?
Um, Waddle went out and caught 100. What was the number? 107?
103.
103 catches.
103, 104. 104.
Without any other real threat, Mike Gesicki at tight end with a terrible running offense, with Tua not being, Tua really has not proven himself quite yet. I think with a new head coach there that everybody's optimistic about, with Hill coming in, Gesicki still there at tight end, better running backs. I don't see Waddle necessarily taking a big drop. I still think he catches 90 to 100 balls there. And that offense, you got to be optimistic about, just as you do in Philadelphia.
This guy set the rookie record. I didn't realize this.
Yeah.
104 catches. I did not know that until I just read that stat. That is impressive. And, okay, Tyreek Hill is there, but I think, rising tide lifts all boats. The offense should theoretically be better. There should be more scoring there. There should be more scoring opportunities. Maybe he only catches 90 balls instead of 104 to what you just said, Stick. 90. Okay, that's still a great number, but maybe his 6 TDs are 9 now. I think the touchdown trajectory could go up, right? Maybe a little less balls, but more TDs. That's possible. They could be a better offense, scoring more points, which is going to help Waddle.
Berto, go look at those stats you just cited. I want to know what his average yards per reception were, because I don't think it was very high.
9.8.
He didn't even eclipse 10 yards of reception. You bring Tyreek Hill in there to stretch the field.
Yeah.
I think Waddle does just fine next year.
Yeah, different coverage. It's going to help Smith too with people having to cover AJ Brown, but it's going to help him. That part of it is going to help him.
But here's the reality, and this is coming from our viewer forum. There, comments coming into the discussion, is that neither one of these teams has a running game of any kind, and so they're going to both be struggling to pass the ball.
That's not true. The Eagles actually developed a great running game last year.
Yeah, the Eagles had a really good running game.
A lot of it was Jalen Hurts, but they figured out how to. Yeah.
Boston Scott.
Same with Tua. Yeah,
Sanders is going to be fantastic.
All right, let's
should be making offers.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's talk about one of our favorite subjects, rookies. We had the NFL draft just a few weeks ago, in fact. Let's start with the simple conversation. We're usually, salivating over rookie running backs. I think there are 2 right now, 2 top-tier rookie running backs that we can pencil into those top 2 spots. And then I really struggle to even see much of a second tier, maybe James Cook. Like, there's just not a lot, as you saw in my mock draft, there's just not a lot of running backs that I think there may be 1 or 2 guys who emerge in training camp. But this is a weird draft that I think is going to be receiver heavy.
Yes, yeah. I agree.
It just doesn't feel like as much. I mean, well, maybe there's not as much juice after the draft this year than there was last year. Devontae and Chase. I don't know, but it's we'll see what happens. But it just doesn't look like, so far. The mock this year doesn't look as good as it did last year when you sent it out.
Well, and
the name, how the excitement of how you thought these guys would do, I guess is what I'm getting at.
The term we were using last year was generational talent. We were talking about Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, Kyle Pitts at tight end. And
and that's it. Pitts too. Pitts, Chase, yes.
Pitts was a big part of that.
And Waddle, yeah. And Smith.
Chase, Waddle, yep.
I mean, you still have all these guys selected in the first round of the NFL draft, but it's just not. It's not the same.
So let me open it up. Which of there's so many rookie receivers out there, and none of them may be Jamar Chase. But there's a lot of talented rookie receivers that will go in the TFFL's first round, that went in the NFL's first round. Guys who look like they're going to get force-fed the ball pretty early. Who's your guy? Is it Drake London, down in Atlanta, who definitely I think is going to get force fed the ball? Is it Jamison Williams in Detroit, who may not be available right away? Is it Garrett Wilson with the Jets? Treylon Burks with Tennessee, who everybody is saying, I just read that Tennessee may be looking to bring in somebody else, a Will Fuller or somebody. But right now, Treylon Burks is the number one guy there. And I feel like I'm missing. There was a fifth. Chris Olave down in New Orleans.
I don't know. I'll just say Treylon Burks, but I don't know.
Well, you're also missing the kid, the Green Bay kid too. Is it Christian
Watson,
North
Dakota State?
You mentioned Sky Moore earlier. In Kansas City's offense.
Yep.
There are a lot of really good rookie receivers.
John Mechie in Houston.
Yes,
Houston is the key phrase there.
Well, they don't have a lot there. They have Cooks is number one, so I mean, there's opportunity.
Let me solicit your advice. Let me put this question a different way. I'm picking number 4. The aliens are at number 4. There is a possibility I am picking the first receiver in this draft. Who would you take out of all these guys?
Let's just say you're not going to take the Penn State guy that Thornburg says we've all overlooked in John Dodson.
I think it's an impossible. You can't answer it right now until you see something in the preseason. So I'll say Burks. I don't know, but
Burks looks like a good, receiver at the top. One of them, assuming the running backs are shredded at that point. Drake London's definitely going to get opportunity. And, who doesn't want New Orleans offense? That sounds pretty good too, right?
None of these guys are clear cut.
No.
And, well, maybe they weren't last. I mean, I think the whole thing with Chase last year and the drops in the preseason helped, right? Of course, but yeah,
I don't think any of these guys are at the skill level of the top 3 wide receivers that came out last year. Like, I mean, they're not. It's not Chase and Waddle and Smith. I mean, they're good and they could develop into, but I don't think there's any one of those that seems like immediately jumps out as like a can't miss prospect in the NFL, which those 3 kind of seem like they were going to be.
I think you should trade the pick, Stick.
It's a possibility. I mean, this is the same. We'll have this conversation again. We've had it for a year. I mean, I need to be getting, and you said this earlier, I need to be getting a stud running back. My biggest need is a number 1 running back. If Cam Akers were my number 2 and Tony Pollard were my number 3 and I had a stud number 1, nobody would be too worried about my running back core. I wouldn't be. There is no stud running back to get at number 4 overall, just like there wasn't at 7 overall last year or at 8 overall the year before. I would have liked to have thought I could get a good young running back at number 4. It's just probably not happening this year, I don't think.
That's why you reach, and then you have a do-over next year when you're in the top 3 again.
I reached on Zach Moss a little bit.
Might be able to get his replacement. You might be able to get Cook this year.
Right. Cook's going to be in play there. Is Cook, as I said, is he another Alvin Kamara? We all let him slip to the 3rd round.
Double down on Buffalo. Why not?
Yeah.
Well, it's just the other frustrating thing for you at 4 is even if a running back does really step up and excels, then the Mongols are going to take
the Mongols. Right. I think I'm taking a receiver at 4 in all likelihood. Speaking of which, let's segue to our mock draft. We have about 10 minutes to go. This is our last big subject. I sent this out, 4 days ago. Take a look at it. Quick reactions. Again, this is an unusual year. There just are not, 8 running backs going in the first round this year.
I think that's the reaction is that how quickly the running backs fall to the background, and you get into the upside receivers and then some of the top veteran guys. You had Cortland Sutton up there high, and you had Bateman not being protected. So it's Mike Williams.
Yep.
But I'd say at the same time, this time last year, we probably had the same kind of feeling, right? Like, I mean, nobody thought that Trey Sermon was going to be the number 3 pick, or Stevenson would be the number 4, right? Or Michael
Trey
Carter would get it.
Sermon,
Yeah,
right?
whatever.
Sermon.
No, I don't.
That's stick. It's
that
sermon.
was sick. Yeah, Sermon.
Yeah.
Sermon. But yeah, I mean, then who else did we have last year who probably wasn't Michael Carter? I don't know if Michael Carter was on that list per se. And anyway, it's like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that there's always a desperation for running backs in our league, and people are gonna want to see something that might be there or might not be there, and we'll probably reach to take a Damian Pierce or somebody like that. What was it? Zach White or something like that? Who's in Oakland? Oakland didn't pick up Zamir White.
Oh, Zamir White, yeah.
Mhm.
Or James.
Yeah.
Actually,
So somebody will reach for something because they need a running back.
Mhm.
So my reaction to this is that I think 1 and 2, yeah, and then 3 through 6, throw it up in the air. Who knows until we get into things, and then 7 through, whatever, 7 through 12, let's say, is a couple of those guys probably will be kept by some team, maybe even, Penny and Goddard, possibly even. Yeah, so all those guys could be on a roster that needs some keeper talent.
Always the optimist.
Mhm. Always the
So who
optimist.
knows about those names is my point. Like that, it could be a whole group of different names because some of those guys being kept.
True.
Yes, we already discussed there are teams in need of talent.
right.
So basically, take out those names there and put in a couple people who the Devils, Mongols, and Aliens have on their keeper list right now, and then substitute them in from 7 to 18 or whatever.
Yeah, that's probably wise. I mean, yeah, I think you got it about right. There's a top end of the rookies that are exciting, and you get the running backs and the handful of receivers that are going to get early opportunity. You got them all up there. And then you get into the veterans that are going to have the best chance to produce in their situation this year. So we'll see who those guys end up being. And I do think there's probably some names that are currently on the keeper list that won't be.
How about the other reaction too is Aaron Rodgers.
Take a look. I mean, this is our defending champions. Go take a look at their keeper list. It's a really good keeper list for the most part. Keep in mind, they don't have a first-round pick. They don't have a second-round pick. I don't think they have a fourth-round pick. When you put all that together, I think they end up keeping the 7 guys I'm projecting, including 4 running backs. And they let Rodgers go and have a decent chance of getting Rodgers back or getting somebody equivalent in the 3rd round.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. But
equivalent at the end of the 3rd round? I don't know.
There's not a lot of quarterbacks typically taken in the top 3 rounds. Maybe a couple. I mean, there's probably 3 or 4 that might be off the board by the end of the 3rd round.
And there's an argument with Aaron Rodgers that who the heck is he throwing to? I know he's Aaron Rodgers, but is he going to be a 28 touchdown guy instead of a 38 touchdown guy? In which
Christian
case,
Watson.
That we'll see. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And who else?
I don't know.
And who else in Green Bay?
It's a good point. I mean, I can't argue with that. It's just tough to see him that low, I guess.
Is Sammy Watkins in Green Bay? Sammy Watkins is in Green Bay.
I think I think that's your number 2 guy in Green Bay behind Christian Watson.
You got Alan Lazard too. Don't forget about Lazard.
There's your number 3 guy. I don't know. Or he trades, Elijah Mitchell, or I'm not sure who he wants to trade away. He's not going to trade away David Montgomery. He's not going to trade away Aaron Jones.
Oh, Damian Harris kind of sits out as the one that's kind of I don't know. Like it's hard to trade. I was looking at that list when I saw the keeper when I saw the when I saw the mock draft, and I was like, how do they not keep Rodgers? And I didn't realize that Harris had that type of year. Like I had no idea that he had 15 touchdowns.
15 touchdowns.
I mean,
But like 15, like 6 of them were in like the last like 3 games, which is awesome.
Yeah.
for him. But it's like, is that is that realistic to think that he'll get anywhere near that again with Stevenson having a full year? I don't know.
I understand.
You can't let him go.
And you're not letting any of those 3 receivers go. You're probably not trading any of those 3 receivers.
I think you have it right. I think Rodgers is the casualty.
I guess my point, like look at the game log for Harris, and like before like week 13, like he was pretty mediocre. I mean, mediocre. I mean, he had a couple pretty good games.
Well, no, he had 12 in week 6, 18 in week 7, 10 in week 8. I mean,
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and then also 0, 1.
Yeah.
I mean,
they all do. They all have that.
I know. I get it.
I mean, if Damian Harris is unprotected,
he will not be unprotected.
No. I mean, but that would be an easy trade for him to do.
Right. So that's my point. The Sponge have more.
Nick, if he's available, you should be trading for him. He's better than any running back you have on your roster.
I trust me. I have reached out to the Sponge about their running back depth.
Yeah.
The Sponge won a Pac Bowl with Jameis Winston. So
hey, Jameis Winston's
that's got to be in Chiefs' head. So. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is probably right. Yeah.
So I've got it right now with the Beavers and the Sponge as the 2 teams not keeping quarterbacks. So 10 keepers at quarterback. I don't think I'm violating any confidences when I tell you Hank at least asked, should I be thinking about not keeping Tom Brady at age 45 or,
that's not breaking news. I'll ask that question out loud.
Yeah. I've asked the question, should I be keeping Trevor Lawrence? And maybe I've got the wrong answer right now. But, at the moment, 10 teams keeping quarterbacks.
And Russell Wilson's another one. I'm not sure that, maybe you keep him, but maybe not, if there's a better.
I would definitely be keeping Wilson.
Okay. New situation. Maybe it's good for him.
All right.
I think you guys are, I think both of those, they're both capped, right?
They're both capped. I'm sure they will be.
Okay, let's wrap up in under an hour here. Let me, as commissioner, close with a few notes. First off, I'm commissioner.
Yes, you are.
Congratulations.
Yes, so say we all of us.
We're working on some things. You can go check out the essential document. And speaking of keeper projections, you will see that the 2022 keeper tab, which ordinarily would be blank awaiting keepers, is now a tab filled with my keeper projections, for better or worse. You can all see them. Some people may object to that. They may think that benefits somebody like Nick, who doesn't pay attention. But for the sake of discussion, my keeper projections are now available in the essential document.
Did you put in TBD?
Or you've made actual projections for the Mongols. They have 7 guys on the list.
Yes, the Devils, like I said, were a little tricky, and actually the worst keeper spot is probably the Aliens' 7th keeper spot. I threw Dante Foreman in there, for crying out loud.
You can't give up on him either. He's another alien low.
Where's he even playing?
Go ahead, Phil.
As I say, is he in Houston? Where is he?
He is the backup in Carolina now to a guy that has missed 2/3 of the last 2 seasons. But I'm not keeping Dante Foreman.
Chuba Hubbard's the backup in Carolina.
Dante Foreman, by the way, speaking of people who was a force down the stretch last year, was a really good running back for Tennessee when Derrick Henry was injured last year. It's why he's probably I'm not keeping him.
I think that's brilliant.
No, to answer Hank's question, I should have TBD in that spot. It's not going to be Dante Foreman, unless Christian McCaffrey gets injured, and we see that Chuba Hubbard really is not the number 2 guy there.
So
Well, then you can come talk to me about
thoughts?
Chuba Hubbard.
I'm just curious. I have a couple. Actually, I have three very borderline, but maybe not so borderline running backs.
You're-
I'd be interested in getting an opinion of the crowd on if any of these guys end up potentially being kept, or as a high pick, in the draft. Melvin Gordon, Gus Edwards, and Marlon Mack.
All three very good questions. On the line, I think Marlon Mack. I don't think he's a projected keeper, is he?
No,
Not for me. Not at this point.
No, I know. I just mean in general.
But I mean, he's looking like the starting running back in Houston.
maybe.
Yeah. Maybe, or Pierce, as Thick
Right.
is projecting.
Melvin Gordon, I think, is a borderline keeper for you, and I think you can probably find somebody to take him on at the right price.
I think Melvin Gordon is a keeper for the Hams. I mean, Javante's there, but I don't know.
He'll get carries.
He'll get carries. He's still, he's pushing 30, but
I do not have him as a keeper for the Hams. I don't think he fits quite right now, but he's a borderline keeper for them. He would definitely be a keeper for the Devils, or maybe for the Mongols, or maybe as I don't think the Aliens are going to want to take him back, but maybe as our seventh guy. Mac, no, and Gus Edwards. I just took Gus Edwards out of your in the mix row. I don't know, just a guy coming off an injury.
He'd be a stretch.
We just need to see. We just don't know.
Yeah, you'd have to see something from him first.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Melvin Gordon, as I said when I traded him, I mean, he scores touchdowns. He is a productive, NFL running back. He had another decent, he's a guy you plug in as your number 3 fantasy running back, and he's going to get touches and he's going to score a touchdown every other week.
I mean, and Mike, I'm guessing the question you're asking is which one of these guys is going to be my 7th keeper?
Well, or who's going to be who's the guy that I send a text to Nick.
I think you sent Nick a text saying these 3 guys are on the table. Let's talk and see which one you can move. And that might dictate more of which one you keep, because those are all options that are they're all good options.
Yeah, no, so, I think I'm taking. I'll probably right now I'd probably keep. I'd probably keep the 4 wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Williams, Waddle, Pittman, and Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
Not keeping Hawkinson then?
No.
I was going to say Hawkinson was a guy that stood out to me as a keeper.
So that means Melvin Gordon goes back in the pool.
Yeah,
probably gets traded.
Mm-hmm. I get traded. That's what I mean. Yeah. All right. Exciting time.
Or obviously could trade one of the wide receivers and keep Gordon. I like Mac though too. I mean, Mac could be really interesting. He's young. And, yeah. Have to see if he's back and what kind of role he has. But
all right, so let's plan on getting back together in mid-June. I don't know the exact dates of all the teams' mini camps, but we'll actually start seeing some guys on the field in June. Probably getting the first answers to questions like, is it Dameon Pierce or is it Marlon Mack? So we'll be back sooner rather than later to have another webcast. As I was saying, Essential Document now has the Keepers tab. I've been in contact with our rules chairman, Mr. Thornburg, and you can expect him to kick off our rules-making process in early June. We've delayed that later than usual. I think Hank and others will agree. This is now we're all thinking about the TFFL. This is the time.
Yes, perfect timing.
See, and I'm a dick, which everybody knows, so I'll be the loudmouth in the room. But isn't it much better? Now is the time to talk rules, because now we're going to get into this stuff, and just ram it down our throats in March while we're watching basketball is, I don't know. I just don't think the right format. So I'm glad that we're doing it this way. Thank you, Thornburg.
The Stick administration off to a great start already. Good policy making here.
Yeah.
Berto has taken care of course, renting our Myrtle Beach house. has paid, I believe, half of that fee. We'll have to pay the second half of that soon enough. We'll wait until that's all paid up before we ask people to chip in. But thank you, Berto, for taking care of that. Just a couple hours ago, I renewed the TFFL website for the season. At some point, maybe there's some better option out there, but got us a $30 discount. Got the draft kit on its way to me, and checked that off the list. So we are moving ahead. As I said, once mini camps start, it's kind of preseason. Welcome to the 2022 season, guys. We'll be back soon talking about real action on the practice field, and maybe having some answers to some of these keeper questions we're looking at. Everybody stay safe in the meantime. Good luck trading with Nick and Terry and maybe me. There have been, as I understand it, I think, unless I'm overlooking something, 0 trades thus far in the Stick administration.
Wow.
Be the first owner to pull off a trade in this new administration.
Do we get a prize?
Make history.
Like COVID or something?
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm supposed to entice people with prizes.
No bribes.
Yep. All right. Go forth, make some trades, and we will see you guys again in a couple weeks. Take care.
All right.
All right. Cheers, everyone.
Have a good night.
Good night.